Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Bat Châtillon 15555, the Tier 9 French SPG. It's located on North Spawn of Cliff and it's under the command of ProvoBob. Yes, we've just briefly seen him in action on Mirror of Anchor, and now we're seeing him in action on Cliff. Can he repeat exactly what he did in the previous battle? Well, let's see. Game started. Well, he's using the stock gun. No, it's the stock gun because there's that shortening of the barrel just at the end. The top gun actually has an extended barrel which is the same size all the way along. Now the stock barrel is actually faster to reload, and I prefer using the stock gun because of course you get more rounds out. It does about the same damage. Well, it does the same damage exactly. It's just you get slightly better accuracy with the top gun than you do with the stock gun, but I'd rather trade fire rate or DPM than actually have a greater accuracy, because this thing is very accurate if you aim it correctly. And he's chosen a rather unusual position right on the cliff edge to shoot at the enemy. The advantages of this position is that he can hit some of the enemy from a position they don't expect to be hit from, which is like up on here on the second level on the plateau. And of course the enemy Arty won't know where he is. They'll be looking in the wrong place, and so they probably won't get counter batteried at all. The drawback is that he might get discovered by enemy tanks if they come around the cliff, but that's very unlikely to happen because in this tier 10 battle we've got a Wizzy 11114 and a Super Conqueror going around the cliff edge. Well, he fired his second round, but it didn't get any hits from that one. But we're now looking at an Object 257 up at the centre line, as well as a Striv 103B. And they might be sitting behind those rocks thinking they can't be hit, but I think ProvoBob can hit them. Rounds out the Striv. It hits the rock face, unfortunately. It just goes slightly to the right and hits the rocks there instead of the actual vehicle, but he has got the sight on that vehicle at the moment, so if the next shot goes exactly where it's aimed, that guy is going to take some damage. He's almost ready to shoot, just lining it up, getting it ready. Rounds out. The Striv pulled back just in time to avoid that one. Of course it was the 103B, which is the tier 10 Swedish flat pack. I know we often joke about them being flat packs, the IKEA tank, the S tank, but it really is quite unusual. You don't see many other nations adopting a tank like that, and it's actually quite an ingenious tank in many ways. Type 4 heavy. Now, as I may have mentioned before, he does 750 alpha. With this gun, he can fire once every about 25 seconds or so. He's got 45mm of armor he can pen. Actually, it's 24 seconds. His first hit on the Type 4 is a non-penetrating shot, but he gets 197 hit points off that one. 8 meter splash radius. He could increase that to 9 meters if he used premium ammo, but he hasn't loaded any. I tend to actually include a few premium rounds just in case, because you never know when the enemy groups together. And then, of course, the extra meter makes a huge difference when it comes to doing more damage to enemy tanks that are bunching together. Just like this Striv 103 and Standard B right up on top of the hill. The unfortunate thing is, from his current position, he can't really easily get shots on those guys. Okay, now he's aiming for the 257, still at the centre point, but he was hiding behind the rocks before. Now he's come out from around them and he's trying to use the ridgeline to shoot at our Emil 2. And that may be his undoing, because ProvoBob now can get a shot on target. He just needs to see the target in order to fire. None of the enemy are in sight. First one's in sight, but he's over the other side of the battlefield. And now, oh, he moves, and there comes the Type 4 heavy. Fires that round in and gets 93 hit points this time. It hit the heavy armor. Looks like it did track him though. And that guy is taking shots, but none of them are penetrating at the moment. So he's not picking up any stun assists yet. He's almost ready to go for another one. Lines it up. Rounds out. Another direct hit. More stun. Now he's getting some. Look at that. Beautiful. 1097 hit points of stun assist. And the Type 4 Heavy goes down. So he picked up all of the remaining hit points of that guy as stun assist, which is massively going to increase his XP at the end of the game. He's having a look at the Badger, who's been spotted down on the west side of the map near the Western Pass. He's in a safe place where he thinks he's safe from Arty. Normally, if the Arty was on the west side of the map, they wouldn't be able to hit that corner, but he can. And I think the Badger now realizes, yes, he is exposed to Arty. And that's going to make that Badger very worried, because it means that, yes, he can be taken out. But as I mentioned earlier in the game, if the enemy tanks come around the cliff, then ProvoBob's going to be almost within sight of them. And unfortunately, our Superconk did get taken out when he went round the cliff. Direct hits on the E5. Oh, and he's picking up more stun assists, massive amounts, 1,771. He's now got 3,500 stun assist, and that means it's very likely he's going to get an Ace Tanker out of this game. You don't necessarily have to do a lot of damage, but if you can get a shot on target, stun the enemy tank, and then your teammates shoot them, then you get a lot of XP out of it. He's angling a shot at the T-54E1, the American autoloader. The E5 has now pulled back, so he can't see that guy at the moment, but he can certainly hit this T-54E1. Almost ready to go. He just took a lot of damage, and he might be a one-shot. Fires the round in. No, unfortunately, didn't get the splash kill. That 257 suddenly appeared again over by the centre line. We lost sight of him again, just as we have before. Just needs the Emil to spot him. There he is. Line him up. Rounds out. Beautiful. 185 hit points from that one. Good shot. Directly on target. That target was moving about as well. Bit by bit, he was jockeying backwards and forwards. Obviously a sign of somebody who knows how to avoid fire, that they're pulling backwards and forwards to try and fool people into thinking where they're going to be next. Avoid a shot on their cupola, but instead he got hit by an Arty round, and the Badger's been hit again for 59. But I'm afraid we've got two tanks up on the plateau at the moment. Near the donut, as they call it now. I think it's called the donut. A Leopard Prototype A and also a CS-53. Almost ready to fire. Rounds out. Oh, now he hit the Leopard with a direct hit. It didn't hit the CS-63, but we saw some effect on the CS-63. We didn't see what happened to the Leopard, but I think he's very low on hit points now. Leopards have very thin armour, so he might have penetrated that guy. We'll have to see in the end of battle results if he did. There's the Leopard, and he is low now. And he's lined up the shot, fires it in, and takes out the Leopard prototype. I think one of those shots on that target will be a penetrator. He's now trying to get the CS-63, the Polish tank that's the new mediums that have come out. He's very low on hit points, that tier 10. Lining him up. Rounds out. Oh, no, it goes to the left. RNG says, no, you're not going to get him that time. ProvoBob's another of these players who tends to let the thing aim, settle on the target. The other player, of course, who does that on a regular basis is Talon 1958 and Angelina 75. They both tend to let the aim settle before they'll shoot to make sure they get accurate shots on the target. Rounds out. Oh, again, he got close, but not on. And the CS63 meets his doom at the AMX30's hands. The scores are still equal at the moment, surprisingly. The enemy has control of the top of the hill, the lighthouse. And we've managed to keep the enemy at bay from ProvoBob. There's a Gorilla 15 and Object 430 stopping them moving forward. He's now aiming for that 257 again. 110 hit points a splash off him this time. Oh dear, the Gorilla 15 met his doom at the end of the hands of the enemy Arty. There's only one enemy Arty at the moment, and that's the M53, M55, and he's got one kill, the Gorilla. That's a direct hit. 212 off the 257, stunned him. Well, we're down to the last 3 minutes 40 seconds of the game. It's gone a long time, but there again, it is a tier 10 game with tier 9 tanks. You'd expect it to be a long battle if they're equally matched. Trying to line up a shot in the 257 again. He's dialing in, letting it settle before he shoots to get accurate. Rounds out. Nope. It landed short. The 140 is the other side of the cliff. He can't hit from this angle, I'm afraid. Not from this position. He'd only really have a chance of hitting that tank if he was over on the west side of the map. They've killed the Badger, so he could move over to the west side of the map. That's no problem, but there's nothing between him and the enemy tanks now on the east side of the map, so he really is at a bit of a disadvantage because he can't move without possibly getting seen by the enemy, and he doesn't want to be seen. Yeah, he's actually highlighting already. Watch those spots. That's where the enemy is. He's got 2.2k of damage already, 4k of stun assist. Oh, 1-4 goes down. We're now 2 tanks behind the enemy. They've actually got an advantage. Losing the Gorilla and the Object 430 and now the Wizzy 11114 has put them in the driving seat. It appears that the T110E5 went all the way back round to the other side of the battlefield because he was so badly damaged. ProvoBob fires around in ahead of his path and only stuns him. He was lucky. 2-minute warning. It looks like most of the enemy tanks have retreated back to their cap area because they realised that we had captured the west side of the map and that their base was vulnerable. So they've actually pulled back, and we don't know where the Standard B or the Yak Tiger is. But we know where the E1 is. He's currently down near their cap. Oh, he fired ahead of his path. Unfortunately, stopped suddenly. All these tanks are one-shots. He only needs to land a shell next to them and it should take them out of the game. He's now going for the 140. He's trying to attack our AMX30. Here he is. Oh, please get this one. One more shot. Rounds out. Yes! That's 2 kills now for Provo. Yag Tiger, it's the last minute hooter. It looks like it's going to be a draw. ProvoBob's going to get maybe 2 more rounds if he's lucky. Lining up his shot on the Yag Tiger. Rounds out. Direct shot, but it landed right next door to him. I say direct shot, I mean it actually landed next to him, but it did do a nice amount of damage. Waffentrager is a one-shot now. 29 seconds. He should be able to get one shot on this guy to kill him. He's trying to kill the AMX-30, but he's having a lot of difficulty trying to get a shot on target. And the AMX-30 gets the kill instead. So we're going for the Jagdtiger. Rounds out. Lands alongside him for 226. There's only 3 left on our team and 8 seconds left on the clock. It's definitely going to be a draw. And there goes the Jagdtiger. And the game clock runs out, and it is a draw with 3 left on each side. Wow. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats for this one. Well, it's an ace tanker for ProvoBob in the Bat Chat 155.55. He's done it again, exactly the same. He got a bruiser medal as well for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 17. He also got a Confederate medal for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. Yet again, Ace and Confederate of the same sort of battle, but this time it was a draw. But he still did enough work to get the ace tanker. That 4,000 hit points of stun assist really makes a huge difference in the end to where you finish and what sort of medal you get in the end and what sort of classification. Now, did he actually pen that that Leopard prototype? I'm really interested in that. No, he didn't, but he did do 568 hit points of damage to that guy. So yes, he must have been cursing ProvoBob at the time that he got those shots on target. 3,975 on the win 8 this time, which is much better. It's Super Unicum standard. And if we look at team score, we can see he was much higher up the table as well. The highest damage in the game was that CS63. The guy was definitely trying hard to get. He got 6,542 hit points of damage in that one, and he picked up a high caliber and a Confederate as well. So he obviously did hit the same number of tanks that ProvoBob did, but of course, other than the tanks that he destroyed. In fact, you can see here he hit 10 and killed 4, so there was a 6 difference, and that's why he ended up with the Confederate. And the next highest score on damage was the Jaeger, who did 4,865 hit points of damage. Then the Guerrilla managed 4,254. Then the M53-55 on the enemy team managed 3,994 rather experience point hit points. And he got a Gauss and Confederate as well in that game. And then we got ProvoBob with 3,168. I know I mentioned all of them, but the thing is that it just goes to show the high standard from these players in this game. It really was a ding-dong battle. And to see the M53, M55 do so well with the Gauss and Confederate, he really was smacking our team about. And when it came to kills, you could see that it was that CS63 again. 4 kills for him. 3 kills for the Jaeger, 2 kills for ProvoBob, the AMX-30, the Standard B, the Object 430, and 2 members of the enemy team, their M53, M55, and their Standard B managed 2 kills as well. Everyone else only got 1 kill. And when it came to base XP, it was ProvoBob who got the highest on his team with 703, but the highest overall went to the CS63 with 743, and after that it was the M53, M55 with 612, and the AMX-30 with 611, just 1 experience point behind. ProvoBob fired 27 rounds in that game, got 11 direct hits, no penetrations but 23 splash. I really thought he would have penetrated that Leopard. 3,168 hit points of damage, of which 2,822 were at more than 300 meters. Yeah, the close tanks that he hit were the E5 and the Standard B, which were very close to him at one point, but they just couldn't see him because he stood back from the bushes just enough to actually make a difference. We can see that he hit the E5 for 346 hit points in that game. He didn't hit the Standard B. Okay, so that was the only one that was at close range. Now, he damaged 9 of the enemy, killed 2, and there's a 7 difference there, which makes you think that he should have actually got the Confederate and been the only one who got the Confederate in this game. So that's a bit puzzling there. 4,915 hit points of stun assist of 21 stuns. That's what gave him the ace tanker. Just a massive number of stun assists. And 63,125 credits on a premium account. 5,183 for courageous resistance. That's for getting a battle hero medal or an epic medal in a losing or drawn game. This was a drawn one. 68,307 credits altogether, and after ammunition resupply took away 38,067 credits. He received 1054 XP, 628 for courageous resistance, and took away 1683 experience points altogether. So another great game by ProvoBob, proving that he knows how to handle the Bat Châtillon 155-55 and giving us a new firing position that we can use in future. Obviously, there are a few provisos with using that position, that you might not get good shots on some of the enemy, but it does make the enemy Arty work to try and find out where you are, and so long as you stay back from those bushes just enough, the enemy tanks can't see where you are, but they can still get smacked by you. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel please, and thank you for watching.